never where she's been unable to take Glucagen or glucose, or we've never had a severe one in that we've had seizures or anything of that nature. So after 7 years we were running along nicely, and then in August this year she did have a hypoglycemic seizure. The blood glucose was 2.9. We gave glucagon for the first time ever and called an ambulance, and sort of steadied ourselves with the feeling that it's happened once in 7 years, we can sort of cope with once in 7 years. If that's as bad as it gets, we can go another 7 years and prepare ourselves. And Jess had other ideas, and 6 weeks later the same happened again. This time she was only at 4.1, which we previously considered pretty safe. So that sort of shook us up quite a bit. Used glucagon again, ambulance again, and without being overdramatic, it was the most terrifying experience of our lives. The only thing that could have made it worse was having to simply stand and watch. Actually, I say the only thing. The second thing that could have made it worse was having to stand and watch, waiting for the paramedics, and then finding out afterwards that we could have done something. And that was what came out when it was being discussed. So I was discussing our experience on some of the Facebook groups and the email lists, and a few parents were coming back with questions who were like, what's glucagon? Never heard of it, don't know anything about it. So to get more of an idea, we created a survey just to see what was going on. It was just 3 questions in the survey. The questions were if they had access to glucagon, if they took it out and about with them, and if they had access to glucagon at school. So it fitted in quite nicely with the outcome survey because you know, that obviously showed, as you've just seen, that the hypos and the care at school were by far among the greatest concerns of the parents. With the survey we found that just a small proportion, but still obviously more than it should be, didn't have access to the glucagon injection kit at all. Reasons for this, when they questioned it and asked for the kit to be given at a later date, reasons for that were that they were told it was unnecessary, that they were told it was scary to the parents, which I have to say, it's a hell of a lot less scary than watching a child fitting on the floor. And other people were told that they weren't, they didn't need it unless there was a heightened risk of hypoglycemic seizures, which I'm not entirely sure what a heightened risk is, because I just thought that the fact that they were type 1 gave them a heightened risk in itself. Over a third of the parents had been given the kit but hadn't been shown how to use it. Only 15% said the school had access to glucagon and were trained how to use it as well. There were some where they had access to the kit on site but weren't trained how to use it. It was just there for the either the parents or the paramedics to give as required. And what was surprising was where the parents and carers were unable to arrange that the school had access to it or had training for it, twice as often that was because the clinics were advising against, rather than the schools actually not being willing to, which we'd always sort of thought that was the main sticking point in the past, that the schools were sort of scared by it, didn't want to do it. And what we found was that where the schools, where it was explained to the schools, you know, that the kit was made for non-medical professionals, that it couldn't do any damage, they couldn't sort of overdose or cause the child any harm. They were actually quite willing, and just putting it out there to them that basically they would have to just stand and watch in this situation until the paramedics arrived, whether that be in 10 minutes or whether that be in 30 minutes. If you give this injection, then you're obviously shortening that horrible experience for all concerned. They were actually quite open to it. So what we're hoping to sort of do moving forward is allow the school staff to be trained on it. Obviously, we're not saying across the board every school should have it. We're saying where the parents are happy for that to happen and where the schools are in agreement that we all work together as a team and make that something that is doable. And just for that to be supported by our teams, you you know, if training's, and if we understand obviously resources are limited and everything, but where training's an issue, that perhaps the parents can do the training, because often it is the parents who, if anybody's going to have to use it, it's going to be them, so they are, you know, sort of quite up to speed on how to use it, and just to have that sort of backing to go forward as a team, and make that more available. So hand over to Adrienne.
Oh,